What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Droid Life Show, episode 28. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Kellen. With me, as always, Tim, Ron, and Eric. Everybody say hi real quick.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey.
Hello again.
So on tonight's show, we want to talk Apple stuff. As weird as that may sound, I know we're an Android site, but Apple had their Worldwide Developer Conference kick off on Monday with a keynote that showed off iOS 7, a number of other products. And even today, with Android firmly cemented in the mobile landscape, whatever Apple does is still interesting, and we still like to talk about it. But before we get into that, we want to talk about, or at least remind you guys that we're running a Father's Day contest right now where you can win an LG Optimus G Pro from our friends at AT&T. The contest runs until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., so make sure you jump in on that. Then we're also going to do 2 more contests on Thursday and Friday. Friends at NVIDIA put up a couple of prizes, 32 gigabyte Nexus 7s along with cases and docks. So on Thursday and Friday, you have a chance to win those as well. So make sure you jump in on those. Well, let's start off with iOS talk. So
Let's do it.
iOS 7, completely different look, I guess you could say, of iOS. You can argue if it added much functionality, but it definitely looks different. There's definitely some added pieces to it, though, like a new notification center, or they're calling control center, I believe. There's some new swipe gestures, but overall it's just a new look. So once that was announced, I actually took to the site and posted up a comparison to Android of just a lot of the new features that Apple introduced, like Command Center, since we have a notification toggle screen in Android. They have lock screen notifications now, which we've also had for a while. Safari and Chrome have this sort of matching tabbed browser look. There's real multitasking in iOS now, which has been in Android for a while. iTunes Radio exists now. We have Google Music All Access, which you could argue is a step up on iTunes Radio. The Mail app's been redone with swiping gestures and things like that. The Calendar app was redone. It now looks sort of similar and minimal to what Google's done. There's swiping gestures and navigation drawers, and obviously the lock screens look a lot different, or I should say look a lot similar. So we wrote up this post and compared it all, and I wasn't necessarily trying to say like, oh, Apple, you just stole everything from Android. I was just trying to show that a lot of the stuff they revolutionized, or whatever you want to say, was already done on Android and many other platforms long ago. So today, Ron wrote up an opinion piece that had to do with sort of that idea about, you know, they're not just borrowing from Android, they're taking from everywhere, and maybe that's a good thing for the industry and things like that. Ron, do you kind of want to go over what you said in your piece?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, the gist of it is just, you know, looking through iOS 7 and just showing how there are influences from all over the place. So if you look at the lock screen, I think that's a great example. And you compare the iOS 7 lock screen to the lock screen on WebOS. They're very, very similar, especially with the way that notifications stack and that kind of thing, which is also very similar to the lock screen on Android. It's just the Android lock screen is really just the next step from where WebOS was. WebOS, you just slide up from a half circle. Android, it's sliding out from a full circle, so it's not like dramatically different. And you have the clock on top. So it's not crazy different. They're all drawing from the same ideas. So you see things like that, and some of the things that you already mentioned. You know, it's like things like the Safari tabs. Those are very blatantly stolen from Chrome. Done better, I think, but stolen. You've got things like Control Center, which is kind of like quick settings, except for it looks like they mocked it up in Photoshop in 10 minutes and then coded it the night before.
Yep.
So I think it looks like crap. Notification Center is basically a ripoff still of Notification Drawer, I think is the official name now, in Android. And they have that on the lock screen now, which was on Android before. iOS has had on-screen notifications for a long, long time, but now you can see all of them in the slide down. So yes, I mean there's lots of stuff, but the influences are all over the place, right? So they stole some things from Android or borrowed or whatever terminology we want to use, but they're also taking stuff from WebOS, like multitasking is a blatant ripoff. I saw some people saying they got that from Sense. Sense jacked that from WebOS, and really all they were doing was instead of Android jacked it from WebOS first. It's just they were a little bit more cautious about it and had you swipe horizontally instead of vertically. But then Sense just said, well, let's do it the right way. And they made it horizontally again, and that's all that Apple's doing. So, so we're definitely seeing just lots of lots of copying and lots of borrowing from each other, and I do think that that's healthy in the industry. It's difficult though, and that's the big thing that we kind of see people talking about is in the comments is just, well, what about all the litigation stuff, and isn't that a little hypocritical? So we can talk about that some more later. But I think there's some of it that is hypocritical, and there's some of it that isn't. So that was kind of the gist of my piece of just saying, hey, everybody's borrowing from everybody. It's not just Apple stealing from Android. They're stealing from other people, and Android's stealing from other companies, and Microsoft's stealing. Everybody's doing it. So it's not just an Apple thing.
Yeah, so Tim, what are your thoughts on that? Just the borrowing ideas. Is it good for competition? Is it good for consumers? What are your thoughts just on that in general?
I think it's great from the consumer standpoint. I think having all these companies borrow, I don't like the word steal when it comes to this. I mean, these are like cell phones we're talking about, and unless it's something completely blatant, like, I don't know, whatever makes it a better experience for the end user, I'm totally game with. I've always considered myself like a lover of technology in general, so I don't own any iOS devices, but after seeing iOS 7, I'm like a little, I would try that out because it kind of looks cool. I like the light color palette type deal they got going on in general. I'm a fan of the whole borrowing as long as it's better for the consumers. So that's great. I don't like to point the finger and say, oh my God, they're stealing. I just don't live in this negative world that others want to dwell in.
Yeah, and I seem like I have to clarify this every time we write one of these posts, but it's not us trashing on Apple. We just like to point out that these things exist, and it's not necessarily revolutionary, and it's sort of a joke it's like a long running joke with us. But anyway, Eric, what were your thoughts just in general when you saw iOS 7 and the look of it, new functionality, borrowed functionality, anything?
I thought it was very well done. I like it a lot. That being said, I'm with Tim. Tim, I don't have any iOS devices. But it looks nice. I think it looks really good, and it's a good step in the direction for them. I'm a minimalist guy, so flattening everything and making it all two-dimensional and smoothly scrolling, that it appealed a lot to me. But like you said, we're not bashing on Apple when we write stuff like this. It's just that this has been around before, and the way that Apple presents it, they they reinvented the wheel, and that's why we write what we write, just to kind of keep everybody in check. So I don't know.
Sorry, Eric, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing at the chat.
I figured something was going on in there.
Yeah, sorry. So I actually
picked up.
Yeah, he's repping for Viva Movil,
which we will get to later. We will make time for Viva Movil.
I'm crying.
So, so a couple weeks ago, I picked up the 5th generation iPod Touch just for stuff like this because I wanted to be able to, rather than critiquing iOS from afar, I didn't want to just do that without having any experience with it. So I actually flashed iOS 7 beta onto it, and it's kind of cool. I don't mind the overall look of it, and I like what they've added to it, with the note or the command center, whatever the hell they're calling it, the notification stuff, and the quick toggles. Although the quick toggle, it is kind of random. There's just all this stuff just sort of randomly thrown in there, and the transparency and how it takes the color of whatever it's over top of is just sort of weird in general. But I've played with it, and one of the problems I have though is since they reskinned everything, no developer has had a chance to do that yet. So all of the apps have this, all of the apps you download have the glossy, bubbly mirrored tint to them, and then all of Apple stuff's flat now, and it looks looks terrible. So it's when we talked about how Android had a couple of big changes and they introduced all these new design guidelines, and we complained forever how none of them match Android design guidelines on these apps. Apple's going to have to go through the same thing now. Everyone's going to have to redesign their apps to meet these new standards and stuff. But
there's still applications for iOS that don't even fit a 4-inch display. So development for iOS is changing a lot, and I think that's great though. I think that's exactly what it has needed basically. They need to break the bars of the iOS like prison that they're in.
Break
You know
the
what I mean?
bars.
That's it. So
Yeah, well, you could
open
you
it
could
up.
say the same thing for Android, right? That there's a lot of apps that don't scale properly.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff
Oh
like
man,
that.
there's still apps that have like gingerbread look, like
Yeah,
design
on the
guide.
loading screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
it's bad. I mean, it's bad. No one's saying
Yeah,
that Android's perfect.
all of
Like,
Samsung's stock apps still look like gingerbread.
I will be
even
the
to this
first
day.
one to say that Android is like completely janky in that sense, where it's like
Yeah.
there's no real definitive sense of what this is.
Yeah. So I'm just going to toss out some ideas that I was running through prior to the show that if there's anything that irks me, these might be some of them. So Apple stands on stage, right? And they say, look, we update our devices, like 90% are on the latest version of iOS and only 33% of Android. And then at the end of the show, they go, okay, this is only available to this device, this device, this device, this device. But we'll also get it to some of these, although half the features won't work because they don't have the technology built in. So I know that you can argue whether that's fragmentation or not, but things like that, like, yes, I get that you're updating. I don't know, it seems some of these things that Apple does to me seem like a double standard. Then they also stand on stage and say, I guess it was at All Things D's conference when Tim Cook was like, we just don't want people copying us. And he said it again. This was recent, right? Like a couple weeks ago. He said, we just don't want people copying us. That's why we take people to court, things like that. And then they unveil iOS, and like half of the stuff, okay, probably more than half of the stuff is borrowed ideas from everybody else. And yeah, they might change a little bit. Again, just sort of seems like a double standard. So I think, like, while I don't really care I care what Apple does because I like to see technology in general. It's things like that I feel like we get there's just like this double standard with them. Like, it's okay whatever they want to do, but if anybody else does it, it's not okay. There's lawsuits involved, and if we say that they're copying, then like people defend them like to the death that no, it's not, or they do it better. I don't know. I could probably just keep rambling, but. So we could either take that and go into legal stuff, like Ron, you wanted to talk about, or because that's one of the big things, right? That's one of the first arguments that comes up is it's not okay for Apple to borrow stuff from all these people because they sue everyone. And you kind of made a point before the show that maybe they were just countersuing or something like that. Did you want to talk about any of the legal side of it?
Yeah, sure. And then we can get at some point. Let's get back to the OS update stuff too. But yes, I mean, in terms of the litigation, obviously the big case was Samsung versus Apple late last year. And what we saw, as those cases were going worldwide, is that most of the time it was actually Samsung suing Apple, and Apple was just countersuing. So Samsung, the original case in the U.S., Apple started that. But the vast majority of the cases throughout the world, in Germany, Korea, everywhere else, Apple was countersuing because Samsung started the lawsuit with them. Probably because they felt better off in those different countries because patent law varies from country to country. So they kind of made it this big, huge thing. And so that's so. I mean, and there are, and it's. I think it's interesting to note like what things Apple is suing over. And I think, like especially when you look at the case as it transpired in the U.S. With the documentation where Samsung like literally like said, here's the iPhone, here's here's our iteration of Android. What things do they have that we want to copy? Like it's like that's basically what the documents were showing over and over again. Where Samsung was just trying to make phones, and there are a lot of reports of people picking up specifically the Fascinate and thinking it was an iPhone. There were reports of people returning tablets because they thought that they were iPads that turned out to be Galaxy Tabs, and they just didn't realize it. Now you can chalk that up to people being dumb and not getting it. And I think a lot of that has disappeared because stuff in mobile, tablets and phones included, have just become so widespread that people are now starting to see the differences. And at first everything's a BlackBerry, and then everything's an iPad, and so that's how tech trickles down. But I think Apple is in the right to sue for some of those things. Not everything, but I mean there were a lot of things that they definitely had patents on that people were stealing, and that's kind of a different issue of how do you protect intellectual property, how do we deal with the patent system and everything else like that, which I think is a good conversation to have. But But that's kind of, it's not all Apple always constantly going after people. That's and most of the cases have been thrown out because most of the judges are now kind of realizing, like, hey, this is just kind of crazy. Everybody's doing everything. Yeah. So and that's the big, people always compare it to the car manufacturing and stuff like that. Well, cars look basically the same when you look at them side by side. How come they're not suing over all that? And eventually what happens is when you have a new technology, they'll be freaking out with patents and everything else like that because you want to have a monopoly for as long as possible, which is why the patent system exists, to protect your intellectual property, and then things normalize, and then everybody has access to that stuff, which is kind of the cool thing about the patent system is once that patent runs out, it's free for anybody to use. So, any kind of patent that Apple gets, once it runs out in 15 years, then anybody can use it. So that's kind of
in 15 years.
Yeah, and there's arguments about whether or not that length of time is appropriate. For like the Phillips screw, that was patented at some point, and it's been around for way longer than 15 years, and so nobody cares anymore. In 20 years, nobody will care about the patents that Apple received for iOS and their different technologies, but
Apple will.
Well, it won't matter anymore, though, right? Because they'll be open to anybody to use. They'll be able to use that.
We'll see about that.
It's the law. That's the law. So, there's nothing they can do about that. The only other option then is to not patent it, right? And then you can do a trademark lawsuit, which is mostly what the Samsung stuff was.
I think, I get the patent law, the countersuing, all that stuff, but Steve Jobs, before he died, made it perfectly clear that he was going to do everything in his power to destroy anyone that he thought was copying what he's doing. And so I think where it bugs me is that now we're seeing, we saw everyone kind of push past them in terms of innovating in software features and things like that. And now that Apple's playing catch up and we're seeing them do a lot of the similar things, like the multitasking, it is an exact copy of the way WebOS works. There's almost no difference in how it works. And I know WebOS is essentially dead, but from a company that went, everyone's copying us, we're going to sue you and destroy you, to, well, we'll just borrow everything now, and it's not that big a deal. I think that's just what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the other thing to consider, there is that period, the last 2 years since Steve Jobs passed away, where Apple was just kind of doing the same things that they had planned before, right? You can only plan so far ahead. Mm-hmm. And I think at this last keynote in particular, the way that they were talking about their competitors was more or less the same kind of lines, but the way that they talked about themselves and their software was radically different. Jobs would get, he wouldn't get defensive about stuff from, especially in the early OS 10 days. He wouldn't care about that. He'd trash that. He'd say it's crap and we're moving on, we're doing something new. He famously removed, they had a little kind of statue area of all the icons from the early OS. It wasn't called OS 10, it's just OS. He ripped that out and said, that's the past, we're moving on, we're doing stuff. So they had a history of doing that. But I think this keynote in particular, we're seeing Apple kind of come out as a different company, as a company that's kind of figuring out where it's at now post Steve Jobs, and what that means in terms of design, in terms of the kind of hardware they're going to be putting out. Obviously, some of that stuff would have happened while Jobs was around, but not all of it, and certainly not all the final implementations of it. So I think we're starting to see a different Apple, and I'm hoping that means the litigation thing is going to change. That stuff takes years. It takes years and years and years. And so a lot of that stuff, like some of the lawsuits that they started, we're going to have another Samsung lawsuit towards the end of this year that was filed, over a year ago, because you have a year to find evidence and do all that kind of stuff and through each other's servers and pretend that you're not deleting stuff and all that other kind of thing. So, that's a lot of that stuff was already in motion. I think this is kind of a sign that maybe some of that stuff might be changing. It's not, who knows? We don't know what they're going to do. But it's, and it's difficult because some of that stuff like WebOS, like who's going to sue about this? Is LG going to sue about that? They don't even have any products that are using WebOS. They own it, but they're not doing anything with it. HP decided to burn it to the ground. What are you supposed to do with stuff like that? And what do you do when the creator is at a different company and just doing, they were his ideas? He invented that. Nobody else had that card UI at all. So it's just, I don't know. It's difficult, and that's I think at some point in our country we need to have another conversation about software patents in particular, how long those should exist, what the requirements for those kinds of things should be. Because right now they're treated as hardware, but they're not hardware. It's software. It's math, and math isn't patentable. So
Well, I think one thing that hasn't changed with Apple is it's what Kellen was talking about earlier. It's the game that they play during every press conference that they're at, and I think that's what bugs most of us is that, they talked about fragmentation, and they pointed out Android when it was beneficial to them, and then at the end of the keynote, when everything was already, on the table and people's minds were elsewhere thinking about, oh man, when can I get this? They were like, oh, by the way, this isn't going to come out for our stuff. It's not necessarily, there's nothing illegal about that. That's just marketing, but it's.
Yeah, but it is radically different than what we see in Android, though, right? And that's the problem with the OS thing.
Yeah.
So, and we've had that conversation a lot. Like, what can Google do to make sure those updates are getting out there? Apple's able to pull that off for really old devices. I'm kind of surprised the iPad 2 can pull it off. I'm kind of surprised that they're going to actually release it for the iPhone 4. That's old. It's really old hardware. And the stuff that they're doing with the animations and everything else like that, like, either they're going to have to rip it out or, like, I don't think it can handle it. It's just old. It's a single-core processor for crying out loud. It's not good. So, but they're still they're doing that, and I'm sure it'll run lousy, like iOS 5 ran lousy on the 3GS and everything else like that. But it's a different kind of conversation, and they're pushing them out even though they don't have all the full features, which we've certainly seen with Android updates from OEMs as well, where they'll drop features because it won't fit, like HTC did with Sense 3, I think, on some of their phones.
Yeah,
I think it was with the Desire.
I don't know. That's one of the things that just kills me.
You make some valid points.
That's all Tim has to say. Is just you make some valid points.
Is that the official statement from Viva Movil?
I can't comment. I'm not their official poster boy yet.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's next week.
Send me a signed poster, please.
I could get you one. Never mind. We're not going.
That's still confidential.
We're getting out of here. Get shot here.
I don't know if you guys had other thoughts on just this iOS or the Apple stuff in general. If you have it, just kind of throw it out there.
Of Apple stuff?
Yeah, I could probably go on for a while, but.
I was like kind of I just wish they'd move away during the presentations, move away from so how they talked about being better than their competitors numbers wise, but then they didn't specifically name competitors, but they had no problem specifically naming Google and Android. I think I just don't enjoy watching that stuff anymore because as someone who's not into the whole bashing, it's just lame. It's a lame way of doing it. Don't let your work speak for itself, basically, because the numbers to me are meaningless, because it's all just BS, so.
Yeah, and it is hard to talk, I saw somebody saying, oh, now that iOS is slowly moving down from the top, and it's well, what does that mean? Because they were never the majority in terms of market share, ever. They've certainly been the majority in terms of selling actual sales and making money, but that's just because they didn't put out 80,000 different units on all the different carriers to... it's just they had a different kind of plan. So, they really haven't been on top in any sort of way that is normally counted, which is market share. They haven't been number one. So
I think when people say that, though, it goes back to the point of Apple not innovating again, which is what I can't remember who said it during that press conference, but got really mad about it.
Phil
Schiller can't innovate my ass.
My buddy, Phil Schiller.
Which is in the wrong part because he's talking about the Mac Pro, but he really should be talking about iOS. And it's well, I guess that's kind of true too because they did put out a Mac Pro for a couple of years and.
For the while,
I think he's my least favorite Apple guy of all time.
I miss his mullet.
He wouldn't be in your top 8?
He's got to get
that mullet
back.
was fantastic.
If there's one guy in the world that could bring the mullet back and make sure that everyone's rocking it, it'd be Schiller.
Yeah, it'd be an Apple mullet, and it'd be.
He's just he's the gruff gruff coach on the team that's this is what we're doing. My ass, we'll innovate. Look,
it's just
crazy.
Okay.
Just
and then
settle down, Phil.
There's the pretentious part about it too, what that Apple brings to the table, and John Ivey especially, and how iOS can cure cancer and all this other stuff. When during his presentations, he's just so serious, and it's just I'm looking at icons that look like cartoons and all this stuff. I just really he's kind of how can you even be so into yourself to that point though? I know he's a genius, I'm sure, but he's just kind of crazy, I think. So other than that, yeah.
They're an interesting company just in the fact that their head guys are They're like all-star, like in the industry. Like everyone knows who Phil Schiller is, essentially. If you're in the tech industry, obviously you're going to know who Tim Cook is, but like all these, in like Johnny Ive, like you know who that guy is. You know he's the guy with the white backgrounds and the T-shirt, and he never changes. Like you know who he is. So they're interested. Like Google's like slowly getting there with some of the like fanboys. Like people know who Larry Page is and Sergey Brin, obviously, and like all the Android guys. Like we know who Hugo Barr is and
Matthias.
And Sundar and Matthias, but like people don't know those guys like they know the Apple guys, which is kind of interesting. Like they're almost polarizing figures, which is kind of weird to say for a tech company that.
I think it's coming. I think it's really coming. I think Google is kind of like giving a face for itself basically in these guys, and Matthias especially, man. I mean, like there's memes about his shirts and all this stuff. And speaking of which, this is my Matthias Duarte shirt. So. Yeah, I think that will come in time, especially when you have, like, they're very outgoing guys, Hugo especially, and Matthias. I mean, either way, I don't know. Can we move away from Apple? I'm gonna fall asleep.
We can.
Let's.
I thought it was gonna be a lot more heated than it's been so far. I was
I don't think
expecting.
there's any heat
No, there's no heat, man. It's all just technology, cell phones.
because none of us like hate Apple. We're all like whatever.
No, we
At least
really
they're
don't.
I got
they're
a
doing new
MacBook,
stuff.
man. I can't honestly hate Apple. I mean, like, I enjoy their computers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but the way that they do their press conferences, it just bugs me. And I think that it's because I know more than the average customer does, so I know what's going on behind every sentence that they say. But if you know the business, every single sentence that they put out there is like crafted to mean something but not say something else, and it just bugs me.
If you want to see some real BS, go ahead and go on any of Microsoft's websites.
Yeah.
Well,
Especially anything that's like for corporate stuff, like
Yeah.
you will have no idea what the website is even about. It is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Like talk about jargon. Apple's problem is that they don't write in complete sentences, and it drives me absolutely insane.
yeah, that's a whole other issue.
Oh, they don't know what commas are, like nothing. They're just like it's like they're a Korean company. They just have no idea what's going on. They're just speaking in broken English, going on like I don't know what's going on. Samsung can write a better complete sentence than they do. There's a problem. But
I think they need a thesaurus. I can't ever say that word because when they stand up on stage and describe things, it's so amazing. Just watch this. This is really beautiful. It just works so awesome. It's really amazing. Look how beautiful this is. And they say that like same damn things over and over. It drives me insane.
yeah.
Like I'm sitting here thinking, like, what if Apple had a patent on swiping up from the bottom of the screen to access
They might.
something, and like how much trouble everybody in the world would be in right now in Google. Like they would take people to task over that. And it's interesting to think about that. From each side.
Well, it's interesting to think that slide to unlock was like one of their biggest patents. And in iOS 7, it's gone. Like it's a swipe, like a full screen. It's not like the slide, the little bar. But
right.
I don't really want to talk about patents. So
Yeah, but I do think like that was the one thing about this keynote in particular. Like the way that they ripped on themselves, I was pretty impressed with that.
they did make fun of themselves, which is kind of
A
funny.
lot. Like so, like especially like the like no fake cows were destroyed in the making of this
Yeah,
app.
we ran out of green felt.
Ran out of green felt, ran out of wood. Look at the calendar app. It's staying up on the screen without the stitching in there. I mean, I thought like the way that they're poking fun at themselves and like and innovating in design. I thought that was kind of cool. Like just seeing them. Okay, we can make fun of ourselves and do something better. Keep working.
They were just backhanding Scott Forstall like left and right.
It was bad.
Poor guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
I think the problem is we're so used to Apple innovating like everything, like changing the game for the whole industry. And this keynote, it was still innovation, but it was innovation in their own ecosystem. Changes that
I
we
don't know
see
that
and
we've
hear.
seen big innovation from them in a while. I think
Yeah,
it's
but
been
I mean,
years.
like it's been a few years, but they used to, when you launched the iPhone, that changed the game. They innovated the hell out of the
Yeah.
mobile game with the iPhone.
Yeah. They've been
think
doing
we're
that
used-
for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
iPod, iPad.
And
But
I think
you can. I mean, how many of those hits? iPod was 10 years ago.
yeah,
A little bit more. iPhone was announced 2006. iPad
Seven.
2008. It came out in '07, but they showed it off
Yeah.
in '06.
So I think that's the
It's
problem.
been a while.
It's still innovation, but it's in their own ecosystem, and it's not, we're
Which
kind
they've
of,
always done. I mean, the first iPod, you had to have FireWire, and it only worked on OS 10. I mean,
yeah.
that's what they do. Which is, they don't do things that are out in the open. FaceTime is supposed to be an open standard, but they never actually release that. I mean, there's WebKit, which now only they're going to use apparently, which really drives me crazy.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah. So
They invented a new trash can. That's what they did. That was the big thing. Let's talk about the HTC One Mini for a second. We're getting out of iOS now.
All right.
Everyone,
Throw it out of here.
again.
Peace. Wake
Oh,
up,
I saw
Tim.
someone mention
Yeah.
Mavericks, and no, we're not going to talk about
Oh,
Mavericks.
God.
No,
Oh, please.
no, let's not. Although I'm really stoked on the whole California theme thing. That's really great. So.
I really thought it was sea lions for a second because I was watching.
That would've been so good.
I was watching the Xbox thing, and I just peeked over and I saw that, and I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah,
This was like the Apple with a sense of humor, which was kind of refreshing for
it's
once.
kind of cool.
Yeah. Anyways, HTC One Mini. Let's talk Android. It's been pictured a couple times now. It's official. Tim, you know about the HTC One Mini. What are like the specs and all that stuff?
oh
Tell
God,
me
Spotlight.
One Mini.
So HTC M4, aka HTC One Mini, 4.3-inch display, 720p, not 1080 like its big brother, the One. I like saying that, the One. Dual core, 1.4 gigahertz Snapdragon, most likely processor. 2 gigs of RAM, ultra pixel camera. No real specifics on the camera, just ultra pixel, naturally. And other than that, not too much else. Boom sound, of course, boom sound mini. And
Sound Mini.
yeah, Sense 5. It's gonna have your blink feed, your Zoes, and all that same stuff that came with Sense 5. So yeah.
It's
Now-
kind of an interesting device, right? Like
It is
it's
kind of
'cause-
interesting. It actually looks pretty good. So I don't know if you guys have held the One or know about it, but along that border, there's like the white siding, like I guess border. But on the One Mini, it's more kind of like on the top, and you can kind of see the white a little bit more clearly. I think it's a really cool looking device.
Well, and the size is just because the HTC One still, even though I've been using it quite a bit over the last month or so, it's still too
Yeah.
big. I think in hand, it just feels like
The
this
One?
monstrosity.
No.
Yeah, the One. I think it's
What are you-
huge.
Wait, what? Like,
Tiny hands.
I don't even have small hands.
no, he does. That guy can palm a basketball. I'm just saying, like you've been using that phone for the longest time, and
Yeah.
you're just now saying. I've never heard you say that, so I'm kind of shocked.
Oh no, I think I thought I said it in my review long ago. I don't know.
Well,
I think it's
maybe.
too big. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I still go. I've been using my white Nexus 4 lately because it feels better in hand. But like the
This
Galaxy
is
S4, we
nice.
talked about this at I/O. How the Galaxy S4 actually feels really nice in hand because it's like this smaller package with still a big screen. But anyways, the HTC One Mini I think looks nice because it's that smaller sort of package.
I can't go down all the way down to 4.3 inches though. That's way too big of a dive from 5 for me. Imagine going from like the
Mr.
Note 2.
Yeah, Note 2 over
Oh
here.
man, I'm just waiting for the
Note 2
Note 3, baby. Note 3. It's gonna be massive. It's gonna be.
It's gonna be a
awesome.
tablet.
It's gonna be a fab.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know. The One could be cool. Do we know when it's coming out? Like August or something like that?
Yeah, so rumors are, according to Bloomberg and Engadget, Q3, August, something like that. So,
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here,
I will.
Kellen, but I remember, didn't we hear about the M4 codename like last year? I want to say. I remember for some reason that.
well, the
We were
HTC
talking
One
about
was the M7.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're thinking.
Yeah,
of,
the one's the M7.
So the
that's
way
where
that
it
works,
makes sense.
M7 turned out to be the one, but then there was also the M4 was kind of rumored to be the Facebook phone without the Facebook
Yeah,
crap.
that's what it was. Okay.
So
yeah,
and
yeah,
then it was like, oh, actually, there's a One Mini, which is a fantastic idea. I
Yeah.
mean, if Samsung's doing it, it has to be great.
yeah, why not?
So why not?
Let's just
If
borrow that
Samsung's doing
idea.
it, has to be great. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're marketing geniuses, so.
Well, they have a lot of money. That does
Speaking of
not
that, what-
equate marketing genius.
Did HTC like already burn through its entire marketing budget? When was the last time
probably.
HTC did any sort of ad or anything? And I feel like Samsung's doing more than ever.
I see them on Twitter all the time. They've got to have some type of budget.
I see that
Yeah, if your
stupid.
marketing budget is Twitter, you're good.
I see that stupid commercial about the speakers facing the right way almost every day.
I actually see that commercial quite often too, and I think it's just a shoddy commercial because I'm
Yeah,
like,
it is pretty bad.
it's just so like, it's so cliche, I guess you could say. I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I get it, the band doesn't sound good if it's faced away from you, but like, this is, I don't know. They should market real life experiences or something like that, you know, something I could actually relate to. Like, because I know the band isn't going to be facing the other direction when I go see them live. You idiots.
Well, do you guys ever listen to your phone's speaker? Like, do you just like set it on a desk and you just listen to music?
With the one I do.
I use it to listen to podcasts. I know you guys don't know what those are, but that's what I do.
That was a podcast. No, so like the one is actually the first device I use specifically to like listen to it. So when I go work out or I go, you know, over there and I'm away from my desk and my speakers, like I'll just take the one and I'll just set it down, and it's loud enough to where I'm like, okay, this is good. And like, you know, when you have, say, the Samsung S4, it's not as full, you know, like boom sound is real. Boom sounds.
Boom sound's the real deal.
There's your marketing campaign right there.
That's the
Boom
real
sound
deal.
is real.
It's real.
Boom
So
sound
you guys
actually
do though
exists.
listen. So you guys do use the external speaker. So if an external
Yeah, I
speaker
do.
sucks, that matters. Okay. I just haven't ever really used them that much, but I was just curious.
Well, so there was that thing going around that we really haven't talked about, because I know not everyone has a Galaxy S4, but when you stick headphones into it, there is like a low latency issue with this device. And how when you have headphones in, the audio is either cracking or it's kind of like halfway turned up. Like the jack is jacked.
Oh,
And there's stuff going around on forums. I know there's other sites that have talked about it.
Has it been confirmed to still happen in custom ROMs?
I don't know.
Because I've had some issues with ROMs where audio doesn't work right and gets kind of crackly and that kind of thing.
Well, they were talking about this is like out of the box an issue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they had some like audio file guys go after it, and it was like it's a real problem. So I'm just waiting on Samsung to admit it.
Do we know? Yeah, I was going to say, has Samsung addressed it? I don't think they have they?
I don't know, but they really need to, because that's a huge issue. If I want to take this thing, I walk the dogs, I always wear headphones, and like it's a serious problem because say I have it jacked up all the way, and then all of a sudden I kind of like jiggle it around, and then all of a sudden my ears are blasted because it was all and it's like, oh, I might go deaf, and I would have to sue these guys, but they have to acknowledge that the problem exists in order for me to do that.
Yeah.
So
I have heard about that issue. For some reason, we haven't really.
well, we haven't because like if our readers came in and like massive like we're like, hey guys, there's a real issue here, but we've had like 1 to 2 people kind of talk about it. But now that I've had the issue and it's like
now that Tim's
I'm
ears
gonna
are
write
dead,
about it.
now that this affects me, it's a serious and
it's
that's
a
problem.
huge issue. Let's take it to Obama.
Yep. Well,
Petition.org. Here we go.
Petition. Yeah.
Let's go.
so yeah, either way, you might be hearing about this later on in the week.
So, do we want to talk about this aluminum Galaxy S5 just for like 2 seconds? Because since we're going from the one to Samsung, would an aluminum body? Because Ron, you hate Samsung. Would an aluminum Galaxy S5 change your mind, or is there all these other factors? Yeah, probably would still have TouchWiz.
Then hell
Probably
to the
have
no.
it would have a metal physical button.
Yeah, but they okay.
No. The button's plastic. Everything else is aluminum.
Yeah, just the button's plastic.
Ron, like they talked about this Design 3.0 stuff, and like all their executives are talking about just redoing their whole like thing. I mean, what if they really turned it around? I mean, you never know. Like you don't know that it's going to be the same.
It could look like iOS 7.
What if it looks like iOS 7?
Well, then they'll get sued. But no, I mean, if Samsung changed up their stuff, I mean, honestly, that's the like. If I'm going to buy a phone, I don't want to hack my phone to make it look nice. I can do that, but I mean, honestly, I just want to have the software look nice and work well. Same thing goes for the hardware. I want it to look nice. I want it to work well. And
it already does that. Besides the speaker jack, I don't know why all
like
that hate.
TouchWiz is pretty ugly.
And that's the bit like. TouchWiz is just gross. I just really don't like the look of it. If I hear a whistle one more time, I'm gonna punch a baby. Like
all you have to do is change the notification sound, man. All of these issues.
Yeah, I can do that, but the billion other people that have a freaking TouchWiz phone don't do it ever, and then they leave their thing on full volume, and I have to listen to it while I'm trying to.
Does it drive you nuts when you're in public and you hear the whistle?
Yeah, it drives me insane.
TouchWiz. I don't like TouchWiz. The settings menu is like straight out of gingerbread. I think we brought that up earlier. But.
Well, they need to.
Okay, so an aluminum phone,
battery and all that crap. But an aluminum phone that would be really hot. Although, I mean, like, all these companies seem to have issues in terms of supplies and manufacturing. When it comes to this aluminum stuff, they can't seem to, like, actually get a process down to where they can nail it exactly each and every single time.
They would probably be fine. They're big enough.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Samsung hasn't done it yet.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult to do because you have to have some sort of a cutout for the radios to get through.
Right.
So
yeah, HTC figured out some like miracle way, right? Because I think they bragged about it a couple of times.
Well, you have to do some sort of a glass somewhere so they can go through. So it's like if you look at an iPad, the where the Apple symbol is, that's where the antennas are under. So that's and the new iPhone. It's mostly aluminum, that black glass on the top and bottom. That's for the radios. So you have to have something somewhere in the device where the radios can shoot through. Because otherwise you get signal issues. Here's
the thing: if you just took a Galaxy S4 and just made it aluminum and it had the exact same shape, it wouldn't look good.
No.
You have to.
Probably not.
I'd have to see what it looked like in aluminum to make that decision. If you kept that stupid rounded corners looking, I don't know, this thing that Galaxy has come to represent, I don't know if I would enjoy that in aluminum whatsoever.
Is Samsung too invested though in like the look of TouchWiz and the look of their phones?
I think at this point
to just do something crazy like that. Like
I don't think so.
Apple got nailed for that with some of their stuff over the years. That like they won't just change it up because they think they're being too safe or whatever. Samsung, you don't think so, Ron?
They just got to the point where Galaxy is the new buzzword for Android. So I feel like they are going to be really apprehensive on changing too much.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it, so like you said, iOS changing things up, but the thing that they did is they changed the look of it, but the familiarity of it is still all there, right? It's still the same kind of way you interact with the device, just some minor changes overall. They could do that with TouchWiz, where keep the lock screen crap the same and do that kind of stuff, but just make it look good. Make it look classy.
Make it functional.
Yeah, make it functional and make it look good. Make it less annoying. Don't give me this BS about being inspired by nature. Palm already tried that. It doesn't work. Do something else. So, it's just you can design it well. Android can look good. I mean, we've seen it done. Android can look good. But so if you're going to go through this whole process of changing things up, do it right. Do some nice iconography. Do some nice typography. Don't use Comic Sans in any of your phones ever.
Yes.
Like, just do a good job. Take your time with it and make it look good, make it look classy, something that, you don't want to be embarrassed about showing your kids when you're older.
What if Samsung invests their own money into making a Helvetica ripoff and...
Yeah.
They might. Helvetica Nuo Ultralight. Whatever the hell it's called.
It's called Droid Auto.
You should watch the movie Helvetica.
There's a movie called Helvetica?
Yeah, you'll learn some things about typography watching that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about typography. I can't even say the freaking word. Okay, so aluminum body could matter, might not matter. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of aluminum bodies. But anyways.
It just depends. It needs to be like, thin. It still needs to keep that S4 feel, I think, but in aluminum, that'd be cool. Keep it light. I don't know.
Keep it light.
Keep it light. Keep it portable.
Google Music All Access. If anyone was in an early trial, your trial's about done. So I want to know, all of you do a trial? If you at least tested the service, who's keeping it? Is anybody keeping it? Eric says yes.
I'm keeping it.
No. Tim says
God,
yes.
Ron just hates everything that's good.
I don't.
Here comes the fight.
Here it comes. Yeah, okay. This is what we've been waiting for.
Yes, finally.
Battle.
Go.
Okay, so please.
Right, so if you guys want to see the rest of the show, you have to pay $2 right now.
Pay-per-view for the rest
I would
of the
love
show.
to know why you don't like Google Music. Google Play Music All Access.
There you go. You gotta say the whole thing.
Yes.
Say the whole word.
Yeah, try to say that without scrambling. All right, so you're not going. What are you using? Do you use Spotify?
No.
Pandora?
No.
He's just a pirate.
What the hell?
He just
iHeartRadio or
downloads
something
everything.
weird?
No, I don't do any streaming stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I used to. Yeah, I had that whole write up about RDO. I was using RDO for about a year.
That's right.
Yeah, it makes sense. You just hate music.
No, I love music. I just want the artists to get paid. which
Okay.
they don't get paid very well on those streaming services. That's been shown multiple
Well, they're
times.
artists. They should get a real job if they want to get paid, Ron.
Is that why you're working for Droid Life now and not doing your little band thing?
I played music for years. I didn't make a cent. All right, so like,
Yep.
you just get used to being a broke musician. That's what they. I mean, that's what it is, man.
I know. No,
So
I mean,
you
if
worry about Britney Spears and P Diddy and all those guys, like they're doing just fine, right?
Britney Spears and P Diddy, dude,
Tim, come back to your microphone. You're like fading into the background.
Sorry.
really get up in there. No, I mean, the problem with the streaming services is especially if it's like a radio kind of thing, like Pandora is, and that kind of thing. You don't have a lot of control over the music you want to listen to, and I enjoy listening to a good album. So that's, I'll listen to singles and that kind of thing, but I like listening to a good full album. And so when I'm, to discover new music, it's just I discover it from my friends, and that's how I do that. That's how I do music. So and services like the other issue too is that services like Spotify and Rdio and stuff like that sometimes don't get albums until much later. So for me, the tipping point was Taylor Swift Red. I'll admit that. I wanted to get it. It wasn't coming out on Spotify. It wasn't coming out on
I need my Taylor
radio.
Swift now.
I need my T-Swift, man.
Right now.
And I wasn't going to get it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just I'm tired of not having access to albums right away when they come out. I'm tired of, just not having access to everything, of having to deal with all that. It was nice having access to it on the web where I can just play my music from anywhere. That was cool. But I really wanted to make sure that the artists that I really like are actually getting paid, which means buying the albums. That's the best way for them to get some music or get some money out of it. And I wanted to have control over my music, not just have some random songs playing and having to hit skip 1,000 times on Pandora because it's playing Regina Spektor on my Katy Perry station for the millionth time.
So why are we talking about Pandora? This is supposed to be about all access, and why you don't like.
Because with all access, yeah, you can do
It's
all
just-
that stuff. You can listen to whatever you want, whenever you want. And as far as I know, Google Music gets albums when they come out. It's only been
Yes.
out for a month, so it's kind of tough to. Not a lot of albums have come out, but
Yeah. All access would give me. I'd still have to pay for the albums, right? So I mean, that's not changing anything in terms of that.
no,
So
you don't have to pay for the albums.
You don't have to pay for the albums. What are you talking? It's
if I want to have them cached on my device,
all access, baby. You can keep
I don't.
it. You can
No,
keep it
I
on
don't
the
think you have
device.
to pay
You
because
click-
you can add them all to your library
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
listen to them as many times whenever you want. I don't caching. Here, I'll look right now.
I can't doubt.
are you sure about the caching? Because I'm pretty
No.
sure the caching doesn't.
No,
That's
say if
that's
I
a big
have-
thing for me because I don't want to be streaming the whole time. I don't have unlimited battery.
No, yeah,
Or data.
I will add stuff.
Or
to my
that's true
library.
too.
I'll add stuff to my library and then add it to a certain playlist, and then I'll keep
Somebody in the
one
chat
playlist
must
on
know.
my phone, and you can cache it to your phone because I'm doing the same thing.
All I know is that say if I've added an album to my library and then I hit the little pin and it keeps it on my device, and that's all I need.
The only question I have is then when I stop paying for.
Right.
I
which
would
is
hope
the
that
other
it
issue.
goes
Okay.
away.
They take
I would
away
hope
all my
that it
money.
goes away. Well, which
Yeah.
is
All right.
hard because you didn't pay
All right,
for it.
see, there's the pin right there. That's
Okay.
an album I don't own that I just added to my.
You see,
There's a
Ron,
pin right there.
here's the
So you
pin.
can cache it. But then if you lose the service or if they lose the rights to the
Yeah,
music,
then they
your
take it
music's
away.
gone.
Yeah.
So which is
Yeah,
honestly like a problem that I
Which is
have
the
with
way-
services like Netflix too, because they'll have movies on there that I love and then they're gone a month later.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So it's just those are issues. So okay, it's good to have the offline caching, which is basically like Rdio does, but it's just it's this weird in between. I just want to own the music, have it, make sure I have access to it all the time.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind
But
of the same
Eric
way.
and Tim, you guys are both getting it though. You're gonna keep it. You're
Yeah.
gonna keep the service. Yeah.
You want to go first, Tim?
Well, I mean, I like it just because for the fact that I'm sitting in front of the computer all day and I can really listen to almost anything I would really want to. And then also if I hit a radio station, I can find something new I like or blah blah blah. Really, I've only come across kind of like certain instances where there isn't a song I want, but that's only because the artist chooses not to have it on there, or it's too weird and out there that's not on there, which is totally fine, and I can find it in other places. But other than that, I have access to like the newest music out there on all like 4 major labels or whatever, and it's just great. I think I can have it on my devices, blah blah blah, and I think it's nice. I think it's just very easy, and plus it's Google. I told Kellen, he was like, man, this is just like Spotify or anything else. I'm like, yeah, but it's Google, and it just works, at least for me. So it works for my lifestyle.
Well, Ron, I'm kind of like you. When I listen to music, I like to be in control of what I'm listening to. Like, I've been very wary of the radio stations. I usually like to just pick from what I own and, listen to that.
Yeah.
But this gives me kind of both, and I've drifted more towards radio stations in the past couple of weeks because sometimes I don't want to, stop what I'm doing and, spend 10 minutes trying to figure out which album I want to listen to. Sometimes I want to listen to, the radio. And I picked a station today. I think it was the Lumineers radio station or something. And then I enjoyed every song they brought up, and half of them I didn't know, So I think this gives me the best of what I
Say it. No, say what you were going to say. Hannah Montana.
best of both worlds. Yes. Okay. It gives me the control over my own music, but then it also has that exploration stuff, that I haven't really done up to this point. So that's why personally I'm keeping it.
Yeah, and the other issue too, and I talked about this in my article, why I switched to iTunes and then just using the music locker on Google Music is a lot of times iTunes has iTunes exclusives, and I want to have all those.
That is true.
So, and Amazon has them every once in a while too, but usually you can get the singles off of those, and you can't do it on iTunes. So, and if if it's an artist that I really like, I want to have everything. So there isn't a great service that covers everything in terms of like subscription stuff.
No,
so,
there's probably not. But you can still like buy those exclusives off of iTunes and then upload them into your Google Music.
Yes, I can, but then I'm paying a lot of money to do that.
It's very convoluted too, and it's not an easy process.
Yeah, and that's what I do. When I buy an album on iTunes, I open iTunes, it downloads it, Google Music finds it and puts it up. So I mean, it works. It works seamlessly, but it's not like Google Music Play All Access. God, whatever the hell the name is, that doesn't do that for me. So
I just call it Google Music. I skip the All Access BS. I'm just like, whatever. It's Google Music, man. Yeah. I don't know why they want to make
All Access.
Oh,
what is it
Ron.
officially? Google Play Music All
Google
Access?
Play
Is that the official?
Music All Access.
That's
right?
just ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's almost like it's like grandpa, GPMAA.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah, so I'm definitely keeping a subscription to it. I can't stop using it. I use it throughout the day.
Yeah, at first I thought I would get rid of it, but it's grown on me.
Yeah, it's definitely grown.
But I mean, just like music, it's very personal. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you.
Yeah, and find the service you want. Yeah, I don't care if somebody doesn't like the way I do it.
No.
If
I will say
Spotify
that
allowed me to listen to my own music and generate my own albums like Google Music did, then I would have been on that service a while ago. But this incorporates both. This is why I'm keeping it.
I will say that I enjoy All Access because it doesn't have giant buy now buttons all over the place like the new iTunes Radio. But like everywhere you turn, there's a giant like buy button. I don't know if you guys saw that.
It's kind of like the Kindle Fire.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. And Google Play Music All Access doesn't ask you to do that. So, we had breaking news this morning. Viva Movil opened their first ever store in Brooklyn.
Why'd you say it like that? Why'd you say it all hood?
Because he's a modern Latino, that's why.
Oh, he's the modern Latino now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't just get to keep the modern Latino for like more than 5 minutes.
Oh damn! We have to hand it off.
Yeah.
The store actually opened yesterday, and it's filled with a hand-selected unique scent that J-Lo chose. We're not sure if you can actually buy the unique scent or not, but it's definitely wafting through the store.
I wonder what that smells like.
I want to know.
Why didn't J-Lo invite me out for the store opening? I should have been there. I could have live blogged it.
Somebody asked us why we weren't there, and I said if we were in New York, you and I would be there.
Oh,
I said I'd be skipping
what would you
everything.
do there, though?
And
you don't have
kids
kids
zone playing.
Yeah.
You don't speak Spanish.
You're not shopping with your kids. I mean, what are you going to do?
I could try. I got Google Translate.
That's right.
And I think Siri
Everybody's
can speak
bilingual
in
in
Spanish,
there.
So.
No exclusive hands-on of Viva Movil, unfortunately.
These are our hands on the store.
Yeah, maybe when they come out west or something like that.
They won't.
We're here for an exclusive hands.
There's no modern Latinos in the West.
There's no modern Latinos.
We're not. Yeah,
Southern
California is not near Mexico at all.
Yeah,
No,
really.
It's not.
They're just not modern, apparently.
Yeah,
Ron.
those
They're
aren't the
just not
modern
Right.
Latinos.
Those are the
They don't
ancient
use social
Latinos.
networks
Yeah.
like Facebook.
It's just crazy that
Ancientos.
Brooklyn. You know, it's not like in Manhattan or anything like that.
Miami?
It's in Brooklyn.
I can think of Miami.
Oh,
Oh,
Miami.
Miami. Will Smith will be there. Okay.
That just makes me want to watch Archer so bad.
Makes me want to
Anybody?
listen to Big Willie style. That's what
Operation
makes me
Honeypot.
No, sorry.
Wait, you guys don't watch Archer?
No.
No.
I watched Dexter.
Is that like Robin Hood show? Is that the modern day Robin Hood?
No, that's the
No.
spy cartoon show. Not even close.
I have no idea.
What is going on?
Ooh,
You want, like,
Kellen.
Somebody cut off your
You're
internet
thinking of
connection.
Arrow.
Fake.
He just aged himself.
You're
completely.
thinking of
Wait, it's called Arrow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
See, I have no idea.
horrible.
What's Archer? We can talk about that later.
Archer's like, we'll talk about it later. It's really awesome now. If you liked Frisky Dingo, and you should have, then you'll love Archer.
Grown-up cartoons?
What?
Are you guys talking about cartoons? Because I don't watch cartoons.
Well, then you're
Yeah.
not going to watch Archer. then.
Cartoons for adults.
Yeah, cartoons for adults.
Like Adventure
Adventure
Time.
for adults.
Sorry, I don't watch cartoons.
Mathematical.
Viva Movil, let's move on out of there. Do you guys have any apps and games? Seeing our list looking slightly empty.
Just a little.
Let me peek at the old phone.
Okay, while you guys are peeking, we talked about this app after the iOS thing.
Oh, I've got
It's
one.
called 3D Image Live Wallpaper. It gives you that parallax effect that Apple showed off. It's actually really cool. I had no idea it existed until this week, and I even threw on this. Tim and I even found the like faux iOS new 7 wallpaper that matches it, so you can use parallax with it.
That's
And get that
nice.
same effect. Here, look. Ooh. Oh.
Oh,
Good.
Parallax.
parallax.
It's paralyzing.
Wasn't that the name of the bad guy in Green Lantern?
I want to know.
I'm pretty sure it
You
is.
saw Green Lantern?
I did, unfortunately.
Sorry, Ryan
I've
Reynolds.
seen Green Lantern.
I'm
That
pretty sure
wasn't
that's the
bad.
bad guy's name.
It might be something like that. It's
That
don't watch
movie, even if I saw it, it wouldn't be memorable enough for me.
no one should watch that movie.
No, it was
Ever.
pretty bad.
But the
Any other
special
apps?
effects.
Oh, Google Cloud Print came out
I was
today
just gonna
because
say
everyone
Google
actually
Cloud
prints
Print.
things. Does anyone print anything anymore?
I don't even know what
Yeah.
a printer is.
I
College
print every
kids.
week.
College
You
kids.
print every week. What do you print?
I print lead sheets for when I'm leading worship at church.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. So you
Yeah.
have a reason.
Yep. That's about it, though. That's that and my wife's papers for master school. That's it.
Yeah,
I
school.
print plane tickets every once in a while because some
Master.
airports don't do the mobile things yet, but otherwise.
Mobile.
Yeah.
My app of the week is Jumping Thin Turbo. It's a Adventure Time game. It's 99 cents in the Play Store. Check it
I'm
out.
down. I'm
You have
interested.
an app to
I'm
talk
interested.
about?
I've
Just
got
blow
that
your mind
too.
right there.
I found myself when I go somewhere and I'm like waiting in my car, like pick up my wife or something. I find myself using Duolingo all the time, like casually learning Spanish. Love that app.
So you can do a hands-on at Viva Movil.
So I
Yeah.
can do hands-on at Viva Movil. Yes.
Yeah, we're looking down the road here.
That's right. That's right.
Xbox Smart Glass is about to be one of the best apps on Android coming
Just
up
you
here
wait.
with the new Xbox. I don't know if some people were watching the Apple thing instead of the Xbox press conference, which was a gigantic mistake. But
You've made a huge mistake.
they showed that during one of the games, you can basically have your tablet sitting on your lap, and you can be playing a single-player campaign story, and you can have your tablet looking for a multiplayer game while you're playing your single-player game. So, and then once it finds it, you can just save your single-player game and hop right into the multiplayer.
Why would
And
it take that long to find a lobby though for multiplayer?
Oh, I
I don't
don't-
get it.
Don't ask me, but
Okay.
It
so
happens.
maybe
but
there's
it's
not going to
the-
be that many people with the Xbox this generation.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guarantee you there will be. I mean, it's Xbox, bro.
But the one thing that I got really, really hyped for was the commander mode is coming back to Battlefield. So basically, you can pull up your tablet and you get a top-down view of the whole map, and you can call in airstrikes for your team. You can call in intel,
That's dope.
and oh my gosh! So and this is all built around smart glass to work with your Xbox. It's gonna be dope. Is the only word that I can
Dope.
think to describe it.
The only word.
Super fantastic.
Do you guys want to talk about that real quick before we?
Yeah, that's
try to
I
wrap
was
up?
I was gonna
Xbox?
transition right
So
into
Xbox One or PS4, they're both officially all the way unveiled. We actually seen the PS4 now. It's what, $100 cheaper than the Xbox One?
it. It is.
Yep. 400 versus 500.
Who's buying either, none, one, both? Eric,
Xbox
you
One.
were going Xbox.
Oh yeah, Eric.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. I'm not going to buy the Xbox when it first comes out because that buying any new console like within 3 months of it launching is a horrible idea.
Why?
I'll just point that out.
The price drops pretty quick.
Well, that and I
Hardware
think
issues,
about
basically.
I think the percentage was 70% of the first batch of Xbox 360s red ringed, like something ridiculous
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
they had red ring issues for like the first 4 years.
Yeah, but that initial batch had like
first one was
70 to
really bad,
75%. Yeah. So, I know
Don't worry
it's
though,
gonna
no
be,
red ring.
it's-
You're just gonna get blue screen of death. Totally different.
Since it's built off of Windows 8, you're going to get whatever air screen they have.
Blue ring of death.
This is what I sat down and I thought about it. I play a lot of PC games now, so whatever I have in my living room this generation is going to need to be an entertainment center for me, and then which they both do, and then for this one it's going to come down to games. Which games do you want to play that you can get on one system that you can't get on the other? I'm a big Halo fan. I don't play the multiplayer. I'm not one of those guys, but Halo has a fantastic story. And if you look at the price of the Xbox One and you subtract the Kinect that they make you buy, it's the exact same price as the PlayStation 4. So
How much is it? $600? $599?
$500. $499.
$499.
Yeah.
And the PS4 is $399?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna wait because I know, like, say the Xbox 360, in and of itself, the design has changed a lot from when they first announced it. It's gotten slimmer.
Announced a new design the other day.
Yeah, I would love for exactly.
So
What's up
dumb.
with
I
that?
can't believe they did
What a
that.
waste of space.
I was talking to my brother about that. I'm like, wow, they just wasted that manufacturing.
Yeah, so I just want the Xbox One, but I want it after maybe a couple iterations of what it actually looks like. Because this one's just too bulky. Where the heck am I going to put it? I'm like, I'm
huge,
minimal.
The
And, like,
PS4
I have
looks
my
exactly the
TV.
same.
No, it doesn't. It's angled and it's super sexy. So all I'm saying is, like, if I have the TV over the fireplace, I have nowhere to put the Xbox One. It's too damn big. So, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna have a Kinect floating around that looks all No,
It would be better if it floated.
Damn.
I just can't have wires going every which way. Not gonna happen. OCD. So, yeah.
So eventually, though, Xbox One. Ron, eventually Xbox One.
Ron ain't got time for that.
I do have time for that. Been playing Arkham City every night.
You should get on some Call of Duty with me, bro.
I don't really like Call of Duty. I'm more of a Halo guy. My wife and I play Halo 4.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God.
I don't know. I mean, the thing... I really liked the PlayStation 2. I never was really into the PS3. Just didn't care for it. I do like playing Halo a lot. But the lack of backwards compatibility is really making me go.
That is a huge thing.
It's just a bit, I just bought, I'm buying games that aren't even a year old, and I'm not gonna be able to play them on the new console, and that's kind of a big thing.
Yep.
So, and the new Halo, I mean, it's Halo. It's gonna be, it's gonna be doing the same thing. So it's not like that's a huge draw for me, and especially since whatever, what's the studio's name that did it? Bungie.
Bungie's doing
They're
Destiny
doing
now.
cross-platform. Yeah, and it's going to be cross-platform. So, and I'm a little bit more interested in what they're going to be doing. That looks a little bit more interesting to me. So, I mean, I'm considering the PS4. I need to buy a new TV if I wanted to do it anyway. So, and that's not happening anytime soon. So, I'm going to be kind of waiting it out for a little bit too. But the way that Microsoft is kind of just playing it kind of high and mighty and not really throwing any bones to anybody that all the people that made the Xbox successful is a little bit off-putting for me. So we'll see.
What did one of their executives say today? He said something that pissed everyone off.
He said that if you don't want to have an always-on connection console, buy the Xbox 360.
That's right. What a chump.
Well, I mean, let's all sit down, take a breath, and be honest.
No, I'm the stand. I'm gonna stand
Okay,
tall.
all right, then you stand. Who has a gaming system at this point that isn't hooked up to the internet, for 24 hours at a time?
Apparently, there's some people
I do when I turn mine off.
Well, exactly.
You turn your internet off, or you turn your
No,
game off?
He turns
once in a while,
the
Time Warner
console
Cable
off.
decides that it's not time for internet, but
Well, yeah.
No, exactly. I mean, I don't care if it's always connected as long as I can turn the thing off when I want to turn it off. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
sure,
fine.
you can, just not the Kinect. You can't turn that off ever. It's not a big
Always
deal.
watching.
He's your buddy. He's if they brought
Whatever.
Clippy back and made Clippy part of the Connect, you talk to you every once in a while and told you a joke, I'm really into that
Hey,
idea, guys.
I see you're trying to play a game. Can I help?
No, hey, can I
Go
can I do that?
away.
Do you want to download 1,000 patches instead of playing this game?
Hey, that's going to be PlayStation again. I highly doubt that Sony's
PlayStation?
going to get.
Did you try playing Halo 4?
Did you try? Well, you said
Patches
you never got
galore.
into PS3. Every time I turned on my PS3, there's a system update that takes about 45 minutes, and you can't do anything until it's
Damn you,
done.
Clippy.
Just the idea, like Clippy, like getting in your way. Like, hey, you want to play
And
this game instead? And you
we're
start loading it up.
We're making fun of Kinect, but Kinect is light years ahead of whatever the PlayStation Move or whatever that thing is that they have. And that's the thing I see. If the Xbox is going to be in my living room, and I'm going to use that when people are over, Kinect is much more wow-worthy than whatever PlayStation can offer as well.
Yeah.
You know how the Wii used to be? You know, whenever you had that, you'd show it to everybody because that was just the coolest thing on the block. The Kinect is going to be that.
Yeah, the new one is pretty cool. The way it's able to pick up just so much more detail of your whole body
Yeah,
Yeah.
constantly every night.
watching
Pictures
you
of
while
your
you
body.
sleep.
Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of funny
Which
how like
is
Nintendo came with something so undesirable. It's kind of funny. Just Nintendo's dead.
God,
Hey,
they
Did
Yeah.
they do anything at E3? I saw
They
like
had
their
their-
name
They
mentioned.
handed out
but-
cookies.
Yeah, I'm sure they had something.
They
like,
had their
some
own
Mario
press
or something.
conference through Nintendo Direct, which you could watch if you were at Best Buy or you have a Nintendo console.
So they
Ooh.
weren't actually at E3. They just
No.
like
Well, I'm sure they had people there, but their keynote was not there. No. It was live. It was streamed.
how can you
So.
skip E3? That's
Because they're Nintendo and people will buy their stuff no matter what it is.
Unless
but
it's
are
the
people
Wii U.
buying their stuff anymore?
No.
Yeah.
Did they
they're
announce
not.
like massive delays for all their new products, like the
I mean,
new Wii U?
It's not printing money like the Wii did when that came out, but there's a die-hard group of Nintendo fans that will never ever stop buying their stuff ever.
Yeah, interesting.
It's crazy.
Did you guys see the drama with Ouya at E3?
Oh god,
Oh,
no, I didn't
yeah.
hear about that.
So the story goes something like this: like Ouya skipped E3, or they didn't want to pay, or whatever. So they set up a tent across the street from it in
Yes.
like an empty parking lot. And
Okay.
so the organizers of E3 apparently got pissed and like parked a bunch of semis and stuff in front of where they parked their stuff. And like Ouya apparently like called the cops on them, and then like
Oh my god.
put up a sign in front of the trucks then that said like "come around." Like it sounds like it was
Wow.
just like the silliest thing ever. Ouya's coming out in like a couple of weeks or something. If anyone still cares about the Ouya.
I
It's
wish
weird
they
that
not-
E3
not-
gave crap.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm over the whole Android-powered gaming console.
That's the
Oh,
But it's
future.
supposed
you
to,
have
it's supposed
to
to
review
free
it,
us,
Tim.
man.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
It's going to free us
I
from
have
the
one
big
coming.
game
It'll be here.
consoles.
Like
Yeah,
2
no,
weeks.
yeah, we've
It's
talked
yours.
about it. I'll definitely review it.
I think we have a game stick coming too. That's yours as well.
Yeah,
Look at all this free stuff from Tim.
Offloading left and
but
right.
I already reviewed the smart stick, and like it's just the same darn thing.
It's damn
totally-
thing.
Yeah, HDMI Android-powered dongle. That's just-
Dongle.
It's stupid.
Dongles are the future, guys.
I'm
Speaking
excited.
of dongles, we
Chrome
key?
report on the Google Chrome key. I love saying
Oh
that.
yeah.
I forgot about that. Google Chrome key is coming out like, well, actually, we don't know what's coming out, but we have all sorts of details about it. It's going to be
That
like
was an
$35, and it's kind of cool, actually. Anyways, you guys can read the story on that. I don't want to ramble on about that.
You guys can do that. You can do your own thing.
Yeah, go
whatever.
check out the Google
Kids.
Chrome key story. It was
That's why I am
really
royal
interesting.
and you are servile.
Actually, I do want to say that June 20th, we were told to sort of circle on our calendars, potentially something coming out. See me circling. You circle the mic. June 20th, Android 4.3 apparently might come out on that day.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's not confirmed.
Hint, hint.
Totally
But-
new design.
Yeah, well, yeah.
This is the biggest thing to happen to Android since the iPhone. So
It'll look like the future basket.
it's gonna be amazing.
There's so much truth packed into that.
Yep.
Did you guys see the Matthias thing where he's like in his like bright colored shirt and it says, what does it say? It says like,
They even copied my damn
Matthias.
shirt. Or
yeah,
something
they even
like
copied
that.
my
Yeah.
damn shirt. And then it's like signed like Matthias, designer of iOS, WebOS, and Android. Or something.
Palm or something like that. It was
Yeah.
great.
Sick.
Man.
So, anyways, yeah, circle June 20th on your calendars. That could be 4.3 day.
All right.
And that's all I really got for the night, unless you guys have anything else you want to toss out there.
No, it's been fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, sorry for the delay earlier. For those of you still hanging with us. Yeah. All right, episode 28 in the books.
In the
We'll be
books.
back. I believe we'll be back again next week. We don't have anything going on. We're boring.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We're cave trolls.
that's right. Cave trolls.
Good
All
night
right,
and good
episode
luck.
20 done. We'll see you guys tomorrow, next week. Everything. Peace.
Adios.
Deuces.